YouTube, what it do, man? We back with another one. Just wanted to make this video real quick, give y'all a quick update on what I've been up to as far as what I'm doing with my firearms. This is no clickbait or nothing like that, man. Just gonna get right to it. I've been letting go a lot of my stuff. A lot of my inventory kind of pretty much gone. Pretty much I've just realized that I, gotta minimize, and a lot of these firearms out here, they kind of all the same, man. I like this gun, but this is one of the ones that I'm getting rid of. Y'all probably wondering, like, damn, why you selling the Glock for? But I took this thing to the range, man, the other day, and this thing is just a certified jammer. Yep. I know that's new for a lot of y'all, man, because I know Glocks don't really jam like that. They're not really known for malfunctioning. But this one definitely is a jammer for sure. This is my Glock 20 Gen 5, 10mm. And the reason why I'm actually getting rid of this particular gun is because I don't really have no use for it. I feel like a lot of times, we all get hung up on caliber sizes, and, we go for the biggest caliber we could find. We all want the biggest, baddest bullet, the biggest, baddest gun, that shoots the heaviest, most powerful round. But in reality, man, it's not practical. Unless you're really gonna be out in the field hunting bears and things like that in the woods, this gun is kind of like, it's no point, you know what I mean? Don't get me wrong. I mean, it's a viable option if you're willing to spend that $1 on the ammo. The ammo is very expensive for this gun. Yeah, you can find some pretty good deals out there, but overall, it's no point for me. I find myself having this sit in my locker more than it's out. I used to carry it a little bit when I first got it, but it was just too much for me in a sense of, like, I didn't train enough with this gun. And if you know 10mm, 10mm packs a punch, man. If you don't train with this round, you're gonna have trouble. A lot of recoil. Definitely, especially depending on the ammo you shoot. If you're shooting just regular ball ammo, even that could tend to be a little jumpy, depending on what ball ammo you run. I was running them mostly the AAC ammo from Palmetto State Armory, and that ammo is actually pretty jumpy for being 180 grains. They actually load that up to spec, because you can feel the difference. I've shot a lot of other Full Metal Jacket ammo, ball ammo, through this, and it wasn't as jumpy. So take that into consideration. It's also going to depend on the type of ammo that you're shooting and things like that, on how the gun's going to perform. I got about 1,300 rounds through this gun as we sit right now, but like I said, she's going to a new home, so I will no longer be keeping track of that. But yeah, man, I shot about 500 rounds through this thing. I kind of just wanted to waste the last bit of ammo that I had, so I took it to the range this past Sunday, and like I said, I couldn't even get through a single mag without multiple feeding issues. I'm not talking about once, I'm not talking about twice. I got a couple shorts that I have recorded, so I'll post for y'all so that y'all can see I'm not lying, man. I have no reason to bash this gun for no reason. I don't get paid from Glock. I don't get paid from anyone. I'm not sponsored. I buy these guns with my hard-earned money, and one thing about me, man, I'm just picky. I know a lot of y'all try to sympathize for guns about breaking periods, but this gun is way past its breaking period, in my opinion. I ran through about 800 rounds straight between a bunch of different ammo and things like that, and I only had about 1 or 2 hiccups with it. The first time that ever happened to me, it was more of a limp wrist. I wasn't gripping the gun right. And then the second time was just a straight up jam, which I can live with that, but what happened to me on Sunday was unacceptable. Like I said, out of 500 rounds, I want to say more than half of those rounds, I probably was able to only fire about 5 to 6 magazines without it jamming up. So you do the math, that's 15 rounds per mag, and I fired about 6 mags without any hiccups out of 500 rounds. You do the math, I'll let y'all decide on that. That's bad, man, especially for a Glock. And I've never had issues with any of my other Glocks. This is the first Glock that I had that actually was jamming up on me and things like that. And a lot of people actually reported on that when the Gen 5 first came out, the Glock 20. And I never really had a understanding of that. I thought it was just maybe, malfunction from the user, and that actually made me hold off on it for a while before I actually went and picked this up. So when I did, like I said, I ran through about 800 rounds with minimum malfunctions. And like I said, this past Sunday was just kind of it for me. You know, like I said, after running through all those malfunctions, the gun is just unacceptable for me at this point. Like, it's reached a point of no return, you know. And I know that sounds crazy, but listen, man, I like my guns to run. I can't afford to be having guns that are jamming up, because if I ever decide to carry this thing, you know, if I'm ever out in the Poconos or out in the mountains and I decide to take this with me on a camping trip or something, I don't want to have to be worried about, you know, if I come across a bear or anything and I got to defend myself, man. I'm pretty much a sitting duck out there if this thing decides to jam up on me, you know what I mean? And the amount of malfunctions I had to clear on this thing, like I said, you wouldn't believe it until you see it, which is why I want to post those videos for y'all so that y'all can see what I went through with this thing. Nonetheless, man, I'm not going to make the video too long. Just, you know, be mindful about what type of firearms y'all buying out there. You know, Glock is a great brand, probably one of the best firearm makers out there. I'm still going to, you know, continue using my Glocks that I have left, that are in my inventory still. That's not going to change. But as far as this one, yeah, this one's got to go, man. This is definitely not going to work for me. But like I said, you know, I'm not saying, you know, don't go out and buy a 10mm Glock if that's what you want. Hey, be my guest. But aside from the whole jamming situation and the malfunctions I had, I just feel like 10mm is just too much for everyday caliber, man. The amount of shots you're going to be able to get off with a 9mm opposed to a 10mm is no comparison. Which is why I feel like 9mm will always reign supreme on carry, you know, on carrying. I'm not saying anything's wrong with 40, 45, any of that, you know. It's literally your preference. I'm not telling y'all what to carry. I will never do that. You know, everybody has their own, you know, opinion on what they want to carry, their own likes. So I'm cool with that. You know, I'm just giving y'all my personal opinion on my experience with this Glock. And like I said, man, it's definitely not a go. Maybe it just got to a point where it just started hicking up. Maybe, you know, I don't know what it is, but the gun's oiled up, it's clean. There's literally nothing wrong with this thing, so there was no reason why I should have had that many malfunctions. But like I said, man, you know, this will fall into the hands of a new owner, you know, and maybe they might have a better outcome with the gun. You know, maybe I was doing something wrong, I don't know. But don't care to really keep it around to find out. You know, I got plenty of other firearms that actually work. So yeah, that's it for me, man. But I'm gonna end the video here. Y'all want to make this too much longer. Yeah, if y'all want to know anything else about the gun, just hit me up in the comment section, man. Otherwise, I'm gonna catch you on the next one. All right, y'all be safe out there.